AMC, I noticed, had some relative strength in the beginning of the tech sell-off. The tech sell-off's continuing. We'll go into that a little more later. The AMC has a nice bull flag that just broke today, and it definitely looks like a bull flag. It's definitely a bull flag. Question is whether or not it's going to follow through. Looks like it is, and given the relative strength, that's a good thing. I did buy some calls just as a small undersized trade, and the volume was really good on that initial breakout. And then we've got the consolidation bull flag, and looks good to follow through. MITK had some relative strength, just retested this trading range. That's a possibility of an entry there on that MITK. It's retested and held this trading range. That's looking still looking bullish. Saidu had relative strength to do today, or Sidus space. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Sidus had good relative strength, SIDU, and looks like a bull flag still. It's just really volatile stock, ups and downs, and it's definitely a space one. So maybe if the SpaceX actually does run, we'll see this one run too. The ES futures or the Spider ETF here, the S&P 500s, it had a really strong move today down, and it looks a lot more. It's more technically bearish than the Nasdaq. We had an attempted rally here off this level, and then that hammer candle turned into now almost a shooting star, where they're kind of the exact opposite, where the market finished strong here and it's finished weaker here. And I expect more downside to. We could easily go back to the say like 690, 680 zone levels on the S&Ps. I wouldn't be surprised if we go back to this here, right here, this red line right here. Could easily go back to there, to that level. And of course, there's still uptrend as long as we don't break below here. Even uptrends can reclaim. And this is my long-term trend line that goes way back multiple years. You get the same thing with like an oscillator or moving averages or whatever indicator you look at, but the trend line shows the same story pretty much, and it's just the simplest, and it's definitely respected by algos. So we see that as continued, and it's still way above this trend line support, and could be a lot more downside all the way back down to it. You can see in the past where it's extended, eventually made it back, and that would be healthy for the market. It's really healthy to get corrections. These corrections here were healthy. ASTI was green today, and this looks like a consolidation right now. And ASTI, it's really it's a risky long-term play on the space solar panels. They make superior space solar panels, which looks like it's going to be the future for sure. With the way that SpaceX is gonna keep advancing and all the space investment, and they have the best, as far as I know from the research I did, the best solar panels for space because they're really lightweight. You can launch them easily, and they're very durable. They're just made for space basically, and semiconductors, these can have some pullback, more pullback too. I was looking at the valuations. Look at the valuations. A lot of hardware and semis like SMCI had a big drop today, and you just look at the PE ratios on some of the leading ones, and they're just like over 100. And when you get to PEs over 100, that growth needs to be perfect, which it could be. There's problem with backlogs, and there's bottlenecks, which I don't like to use that word because it's so cliche now. But I'm most interested in on if there's any more continued pullback in tech is to just load up on more of the infrastructure energy plays because we're going to be building more power plants, more additions to the grid for a long time. If you look at a moat, if something has a moat, it's the infrastructure. Hardware and software can change in a year. With competition, that's the good thing about it. The nature of the competition and software and hardware and tech in general is the competition brings out winners that can change quickly. The leading companies 20 years ago in tech aren't the same leading companies now. Nvidia was once I wouldn't say nothing, but they were just an average company. Rich tech's turning out to be a bad trade idea that I put on. It still has this level here. It's holding like these two. It's got a level down at $2 is a major level, like point of control right there, and there's support there. I suspect it'll find support there again, but it's definitely. I missed this downtrend. It's just in a downtrend. I was expecting it to hold this level here, and it'll probably be some time until it gets any continuation.